find KPIs for AI and track what actually matters. So I'm Yaz. I think a lot of you guys know me already who are in this call. I've got about 18 years worth of experience. I've worked for Rocket Internet. I've got a lot of fintech experience. My specialism is SEO, GEO. I like the term AEO. We've been going now for about 6 years. We're going to be rebranding as Rayze Digital, which will be launched this week as well. And I've lived in Berlin. I've got 2 girls and a massive Arsenal fan. And Fred?
I'm Fred. Fred Laurent. So I've co-founded Inlinks and Waycare with Dixon Jones. Basically, I'm software engineer with a specialty in SEO and semantics, and I've started working on that in 2010. I'm living in Nice, French Riviera, and I'm also a fan sax player.
Yeah, which I didn't know, which is pretty cool. Okay, look, so search has changed, or has it? Like that's really the question. Like if we say 10 years ago, people or everybody that they're interested in is even now, like maybe about before the rollout of AI, everybody wants to rank number 1. I think they still do, to be honest. And then 5 years ago, everyone's looking at things like features, snippets, and voice search. Obviously, with the rollout of learning management systems like ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, and Claude, the behavior is changing. People are using learning management systems to find information, answer questions. So the journey is fundamentally changed, right? So what we're doing is everybody has a race, right? Everybody wants to know how to rank in LLMs, how to get to number 1, how to increase your share of voice, your brand visibility. But ultimately, the reporting hasn't catched up. Like I got asked this question a lot last year. It's like, what do we track? Hence, which has prompted me doing this webinar. So hopefully, me and Fred are doing some really cool things at the moment, and that's what we wanted to share with you. If you work in search and SEO, you're probably very familiar with this graph here on the right-hand side. People call it the crocodile effect, but what you can see here is like with the rollout of AI, impressions are going up and clicks are systematically kind of flatlining or going down. The way that this can be explained is with the rollout of AI overviews, etc. So now there's something which is called zero-click searches. Like you might get mentioned or cited, but you won't get the click attribution, which is why it's even more important now for us to be able to report on AI visibility. So let's quickly go into the next thing. So just going back to, I'm again getting asked this question a lot. What do we track? Why are we showing up in that? Why aren't we showing up in AI? Everybody's getting asked this question, and a lot of people are guessing. Even us at the beginning, all right? But Fred and I have been working together for years, and Fred's built a great tool called Waycare, which is I would say famous in the industry. You're getting a lot of really good.
Starting
to get a lot of really good recognition for the work you're doing and the tool that you've built, and we're working on a number of projects together as well. So let's maybe just kind of get into it. So I just got a message.
Yeah, one thing I would just add on the project.
Rudiger said you're famous and good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, on the previous slide, it's mentioned that there is still no Google Search Console for AI, and there won't probably be any Google Search Console for AI, because before Google Search Console, currently, the Google Search Console is all about keywords, and it's quite logic to track that kind of metrics, how you rank, what are the clicks, and for which keywords. But when it comes about prompts can be massive in terms of length, and so it's almost impossible to have a correct overview of all the prompts that are typed by users, and that can lead to some clicks on your website, except potentially with a very topical approach.
Yeah. So although you say like no search console for AI, but I don't know if anybody knows, but Bing released the AI overviews report, which is really cool as well. I would encourage people to look at that.
Yeah, so, it's a first step, but
yeah, it's one small step, but it's really cool. It tells you like all the citations that you've had in Gemini.
Yeah,
and I can share somebody maybe an article or a screenshot afterwards on how. On what that looks like, but that's really cool. Victoria's, yeah, I will share it, of course, but that's really cool as well. So look, 3 questions you might already be asked and can't answer yet. Why is my brand not cited? Why are my clicks down? How do I come up for X? So we're going to get into that in detail because obviously, like, we're SEOs. Initially, we're working very hard. We're doing some great work, and if there are some variables that are beyond our control, you can't worry about that. But I also think this is a great opportunity as well to really be at the forefront.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let me just go into the next slide. So over to you, Fred.
Yeah. So in fact, really, the information retrieval has significantly evolved, and so we are still based on the older signals like trust, authority, relevance, etc. Because LLM models have mainly are made of 2 parts. First one is the training data, which is kind of read-only memory for each model, and it's complemented by web search, so grounding models. So it's up to now, it's really difficult to know how to be included in LLM answers, because there are a lot of different factors. In fact, in comparison, Google was quite simpler. But now, for example, if you use ChatGPT has some significant cost issues. So enabling web search can lead to additional cost for a query. So there's a kind of choice to be made at ChatGPT level. Does this prompt need a web search or not? Is the user paying or not? Should I provide the best answer or not? And so you can be mentioned in ChatGPT 4.1 and absent in ChatGPT 5.2. But what's sure, 90% sure, is that it's mostly related to brand authority. The bigger you are, the more recognition you have online in Google, in Bing, should lead you to be mentioned in LLMs. However, it's not guaranteed, and it can be really surprising because, in fact, I would say that LLM models are still in their infant state. 3 years ago, it was ChatGPT 3.5. It was not really good. But now, when you do some LLM visibility studies at scale, and I will show you after, in fact, you can see that LLM models still hallucinate on some specific topics. So, for example, if you run in a niche business, it may be you may have big surprise about who LLMs consider your competitors. Sorry for my bad English, but So yeah, it's complicated, but basically, brand authority is still one of the most important signals.
And Fred, thank you for that. And when we were talking offline as well, good SEO is still fundamental to ranking in LLMs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
in fact, the bigger you are, the more chance you got to be included in training data. And it's kind of, today training data is quite similar, like a position 0. If you are already in training data and your competitors aren't, then you got a competitive advantage.
Can I ask a really silly question? Like, what is training data?
Yeah, training data is basically the data on which the model has been trained. So, for example, each time ChatGPT release a new model, so last one is, I don't know exactly, maybe 5.3. I'm using 5.2 right now. There is a specific data used in to build this model. So, for example, if you have just launched a website after the release, after the training step of this model, then you won't be included.
Okay.
And
how
your only chance to be included will be using web search.
Okay. And is that why they're constantly releasing updates or different versions?
No, I'm not sure, but and also LLMs are really have a really different approach in terms of training data. For example, ChatGPT already at training data level already knows a lot of online businesses, even local business, even the restaurant near you is known by ChatGPT in training data, which is absolutely not the case for Gemini. But Gemini relies on web search and Google Maps data to fill the gap.
Oh, cool. That's super interesting. Thank you. So the core metrics that matter. So ultimately, I think the way we're looking at it, and jump in if I'm wrong, Fred, or if you've got a different approach, is like, what does AI know about my brand, like across all the LLMs? And that's something that we're doing. How often is your brand mentioned with relevant queries and when they're asked? What is my share of voice in relation to my competitors? Prompt tracking, which is a bit tricky, but the way Fred and I have arranged it is to have maybe track open-ended prompts, questions like compare, best, recommend. Which pages are being driving those citations as well, and in Gemini and Bing's overview, they actually tell you the pages right now as well, which is quite cool. And like traditional metrics, traffic, rankings, etc.
Absolutely.
There's quite a few questions, and we'll get to all the questions hopefully at the end if I don't get booted out my own webinar. So this is where ultimately the measurement becomes possible. So Fred?
Yeah, in fact, when we initially thought about Weke, really for us the most important part was to be able to analyze the LLM response. Each LLM response and basic to some really simple question. And for example, what do you know about my brand? And this seems simple, but the point is that the answer is really complicated because, for example, you ask this question to an LLM and it will tell you that you have been founded in that year, that the headquarters are located in this city, and that you are proposing a list of features to your user. And suddenly you spot that some features just don't exist in your product. And this is typically hallucinations. And this is the first thing to, in a way, measure and fix. Because if the representation of your brand, products, services is wrong in LLMs, then it's really an issue. Because, for example, if the user see a feature that doesn't exist, then subscribe to your SaaS expecting this feature to be there, and it's not, then you got an angry customer at the end. And this kind of hallucination can often happen only with one wrong web article about your brand. So this is the first thing really to analyze. What are ChatGPT, Gemini, etc. What do they know about our product, our services, our brand in general? And sometimes it can be really tricky because, for example, real example, Majestic, so Majestic SEO. One of the answer from, I think, ChatGPT was Majestic SEO has closed and shut down all his activities, which is obviously false. And it was just a confusion on the word Majestic, because there are a lot of brands using Majestic in the name, and some of them closed, and there was a kind of association made for Majestic SEO, a wrong one. And so it's really important to check that first, in fact.
Fred, how would you, I think we're going to go on to that now as well, but how would you go about fixing that?
In fact, it can be complicated, really. What we fixed that, for example, for Inlinks, because Inlinks was supposed to do some SERP tracking, which we just don't do. And in fact, we finally managed to find the origin of that. It was just a post, a review of Inlinks stating that Inlinks was doing some SERP tracking and analytics. The post was probably generated using AI, with AI hallucinating, and then AI took that to hallucinate more and more. So we contacted the website owner and asked him.
Yeah, so the key is because we know that there's lots of different sources or links or publications that are responsible for what the LLMs are feeding out to aggregate and create the information. We can actually use things like Inlinks and other tools to see what those URLs are.
Yeah, most of the time it's as it's tricky, it's mostly a manual work.
Yeah, but we're able to see that, which I think is very powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, and this is the one of the first thing we do at Waycare, which is a fact analysis. In fact, we gather some facts about your brand, your product, your services in a way that make it possible to review that correctly. And obviously, as there's a statistical approach in LLM, you have to ask this question several times to make sure that you've covered any potential hallucination.
Cool, perfect. And then the next thing, which is really cool.
And the next thing is really, in fact, based on so what are the topics associated to your brand for each response? And this is really interesting because it, at least at our level, it has really changed the way we are working. So basically, what we do is, so based on a question, a prompt like recommend some the best SEO tools. Wake is managed to analyze which of the topics associated to each brand. And in fact, so if it's just that, it's not really actionable. But what we do is that for a specific website, the one we analyze, we create a knowledge graph of the topics mentioned in the website, basically in the blog post, in the pages, etc. And we can compare the responses of LLMs with this knowledge graph. And to be able to, so it's kind of entity mapping. And based on that, we are able to identify which are the entities that are correctly mentioned and which one are missing. And this is really helpful because you are able to spot, for example, if you are running I would say some financial services, doing some a lot of stuff related to banking, and you can see that electronic invoicing is not mentioned or is not enough mentioned in LLM response. So potentially there's a kind of, it's a weakness, and a weakness that you can correct with emphasizing everything related to this product or service with standard SEO actions like internal linking. Maybe the internal linking to your invoicing services are weak, or there's not enough content, or the content is buried in some weird area of your website. It's all about, in fact, what's changing is that, in my way, in my opinion, Google was a kind of black box. It was quite difficult to know why you were ranking on some keywords and you were not ranking on other ones. Here, you got a way to analyze things because ChatGPT is talking to you, in fact. And if you analyze correctly with the good tools this response, then you are able to spot what's working and what is not enough working.
Yeah, and then and we'll go on to that as well. But ultimately, yeah, what's working, and then some very clear kind of recommendations in terms of the content briefs, etc. In terms of, okay, so you're not visible, so and also mapping that against your competitors as well, which is really interesting.
Yeah,
so what's
absolutely.
working for your competitors, what's working, and so why are my competitors' visibility for a certain entity or topic better in the learning management systems versus me, and then what can I actually do to address that? And I think there's not a lot of things that I've seen out there that tell you what you can do to influence.
Yeah, basically today the main thing that people are pushing is being getting more and more citations about your website. It's really not the only thing because it's LLMs are using training data, web search, and it's more about content first, but not necessarily new content. It could be just content updates, content improvement, and also structural improvements. So just like internal linking, but also UX, user experience. We know now that Google is taking into account user experience signals to rank pages. So if your user experience is bad, mechanically your web rankings will suffer, and your citations, the way you are cited in LLMs will also be affected.
Yeah, I mentioned on previous webinars as well, like there's a really good tool called Microsoft Clarity, which is free, where you can, it's just like heat mapping software. It's got a really cool AI prompt tool that we use a lot. that mapped with Google Analytics data is really powerful. So yeah, if you guys haven't signed up to it, I would really kind of recommend doing that. So that's really cool. And then the last thing after entities is predominantly like performance tracking, like prompt tracking as well, which we can do as well now, to a certain degree.
Yeah, absolutely. The difficulty being to know which prompts to track, and
yeah. So when Fred and I spoke, I think last year when you're building this tool, this was maybe when you showed me this user case, it was something that really kind of stood out to me. So I really wanted this to be included.
Yeah.
But it's an actual kind of real example of how you've kind of enabled your rankings or your share of voice for your product to improve in LLM. So I thought it was a good idea for you to maybe just quickly walk through this.
Yeah. So initially, in fact, so the first, so InLinks is really specialized in entity SEO. It's entity-based SEO. We basically invented that, and when we set up the prompt tracking feature in Weke, it was the first prompt we wanted to track, and we were number 6, basically, and stable.
What does number 6 mean though? Is that number 6?
So, number 6 in terms of what I'm calling here industry ranking. So it's basically number of times you appear in LLM responses divided by the number of brands mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we were 6th, and first one was SEMrush, second one was Ahrefs, the third one was probably Moz.com. None of these tools are doing entity SEO. So we had really a big issue. So we did a few things. First one, we tried to clarify things. So we published a post explaining why SEMrush, Ahrefs, and Moz, which are great SEO tools, are not entity-based SEO tools. They are not using named entities to do their analysis. They are based on keywords, and that's it. So we published this post first, and it changed a few things for ChatGPT and Gemini. And then we run, using the named entity analysis of LLM responses, we run an action plan in Weke. It's all based on these entity gaps and the way we, and the website structure. And we identified that one of the main gaps we had was about entity-based SEO for local businesses. How could local businesses benefit from this approach? So we published this guide to supplement our existing guide, and there was clearly a gap. And we also improved our internal linking about this. And basically in 8 weeks, we went from the 6th position to the 1st position, and we are now the most frequently cited tool for entity SEO. However, it doesn't stop there, because if you look, so it's written in small character, but if you look at the second one, ClearScope, then Market Muse, then Surfer SEO, these guys are not really doing entity SEO. In fact, the only ones that are really specialized in entity SEO are InLinks, WordLift, and CaliCube. The other one are either faking it, either just there because they're famous. And you can see, I think there's still SEMrush. So SEMrush is here. And why? Because in fact, it's a specialized niche. LLMs don't have a lot of information about what is really entity-based SEO. And so there are still hallucinations. And it directly impacts us, because okay, if a guy is a potential customer of Inlinks is asking for prompt like recommend some good entity SEO tool because I would like to dive into that field, and ChatGPT answer with SEMrush, and this customer has already an SEMrush subscription, then we lose a potential customer.
Yeah, cool. But I can already see here, like, you know, so in terms of KPIs, you can see the visibility increase, you know, the position. There's a lot of things that we can do. We'll move on to the rest and try and finish this up, and then we'll answer some questions as well, because there's quite a lot of questions in the chat, which is great. So thanks, Fred. So what to track versus what to ignore. So I would say tracking citation frequency, share of voice versus your competitors.
Yeah.
Prompt visibility, which we'll go on to as well.
Yeah.
And performance in AI. Would you ignore raw traffic, AI estimates, social media mentions, context, Fred?
Yeah, well, AI traffic estimates are currently, I agree, not reliable. Prompt volumes are, we've done some internal studies about that. What we saw is that it's probably fake.
Yeah.
In fact, it's a marketing metric used by some tools, but so it's not really interesting. What's interesting is how much clicks you get from LLMs.
Yeah, we're reporting on that as well.
Yeah, social mentions without context is very useless, but social mentions are very interesting, knowing that not all LLMs are using the same kind of social networks to get their information from.
Yeah, I think the goal is just to keep it very simple. Like at the moment, we're building quite a few dashboards for clients.
Yeah.
Defining KPIs, and we're working together on it. So just keep it simple and come up with something that you can measure. But obviously, it's changing very, very quickly as well.
Yeah.
So thank you for that, Fred. I think that was very good. Stop sharing now, and then maybe we can go through questions. There's quite a few. Can you see the questions on your side, Fred?
Yeah, I can see that.
Sure.
So from Victoria, how different are the rules used by Google AI overviews versus LLMs? That's a really good question. and to be honest, I don't know. What I've noticed is that when you're cited by, so first, AI overviews are mostly mostly informational content, but it's using the same kind of, at least, platform than Google AI Mode and Gemini, and the results are more stable than for ChatGPT. So I don't know the rules used by Google versus ChatGPT, but there are some things. For example, the size of training data is far thinner for Google than for ChatGPT, but at the end, we don't know the internal stuff at Google, as always.
Cool. And then I think Victoria's got another question. Are you looking at the difference between citations, your content used as a source, and mentions, your brand mentions?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, it's so your content, when your content is used as a source, it means that in a way it's trustable. What we noticed is that most of the time, so there's a different the ChatGPT and Google are not using the same typology of websites for sources. Google is in a way is using less specialized sources than ChatGPT. More authority websites like G2, for example, or Wikipedia sometimes. So there's a difference here, but it tells you, yeah, I know that if this page is used as a source, then it means that in a way it's working well. But people are not really intending to click on sources. So the important thing is really mentions. Is my brand mentioned when a user is looking for a product or service? So personally, I'm more using citations to understand where I should be mentioned, where my brand should be reviewed, etc. And for mentions, it's more about prompt tracking, and it's more about how do I perform in LLM.
Cool, thank you. Charlotte's got a question as well, which is entity-focused content writing on chosen topics in a way for LLMs to best understand, so that lots of FAQs, chunkable content, clear short sections, etc.
So yeah, in a way, yes. The point is, so there are still a lot of things that we are discovering. For example, apparently ChatGPT would be prioritizing the beginning and the end of a blog post compared to the inner content of a post. But basically, what we noticed is that it's the most important thing is to write clear. And really, this is probably the most important part, because if you're using some abbreviations, if some sentences are ambiguous, then each time it can cause either a problem of understanding from the LLM or generate some hallucinations. So we still need to write good content in a different way. I think that Google was better to understand abbreviations, and and so it was all about keywords in a way. Here it's more about meaning. Is it understandable?
Yeah. All right. Cool. No, that's a really good explanation. Another question: what is prompt visibility?
So, in fact, prompt visibility is basically, do you appear in a specific prompt, knowing that you can't mimic user prompt. Just an example, I bought a saxophone in September. To buy that saxophone, I asked ChatGPT to create a deep research about all brands of sax, etc. At the end, it's a 5,000 words conversation that it's impossible to replicate. So you need to rely on some short prompts, basically. If you are running a restaurant in New York, fish restaurant, basically recommend some fish restaurants in New York or in this neighborhood, and etc. If you are running an SEO agency, recommend some good SEO agency for small business in, I don't know, Paris, etc. Some short prompt that where your competitor will appear and you are supposed to appear too.
Cool.
And then yeah, you can expect that in longer prompts you will appear too.
Colleen is asking, I think you've got a couple of guys that want to try Wake, so which is great. So Colleen is asking, how much is it, and are there any discounts? I think you just
how much is Wake? So we got a free tier that let you create a project, create a topic report. So basically, you choose your product or main service, and you create a topic report, and you will get an amazing content gap analysis with an action plan that will blow. Yeah, you will be surprised. And we don't have any discount code, but we still have an early adopter offer at just below $20.
Yeah, so it's not. I've been using it for a while. It's not crazy. This is a good question actually from Victoria as well. Like, do you have any trials? So not really. We don't have any trials. But how does it differ in methodology to Profound? Because this is something that I was testing as well.
The trial is basically the free tier, giving you 3 credits to test that, and hopefully convert to higher plans. And how does it differ in methodology versus Profound? Basically, analytics. Profound is doing prompt tracking at scale, scraping. We really don't believe in this approach. And we are, since the beginning, using a granular approach, analyzing LLM responses and provide insights based on that. And the results are really, so I'm the main developer at Wake, and when I first released this content gap analysis based on LLM response analytics, I was unable to understand how it was working. But
yeah. I did a few testing as well. So, but yeah, I think the proof is if you give it a shot, or if you reach out to me, and then I can help you with that along the way. Yeah. So next one, Charlotte was like, thank you. That's fascinating about ChatGPT. Looking at the start and the end of the page, is there some sort of source where we can keep up with the sorts of developments for each of the key LLMs?
I would say basically LinkedIn. There are so much things to read about LLMs that it's difficult not to miss some of them. I'm basically using LinkedIn.
Yeah, or if you're not signed up to like our newsletter, we always send stuff out as well. There's a lot of other good newsletters out there as well. I think Victoria's just shared one as well, where no, of course, and like this one's great, and there's a few others as well that we can share with you as well. Newsletters that we get every week.
Yeah. Obviously, there are some newsletters. I'm not reading it, but
exactly, it's an exciting time. This is why we love SEO, right? It's changing. It changes a lot, keeps us on our toes. But yeah, and I think it's a really exciting time at the moment as well.
Yeah, and basically, in fact, well, it's just like we were in 2005 with SEO. Now we are still in the infancy of LLMs, and everything is changing. And
there's so much going on at the moment. We talk about another one at the moment with spam updates hitting aggressive AI content. There's so much going on at the moment that we're seeing.
Yeah, absolutely.
At the moment, that's probably another webinar in itself. In terms of what not to do or what not to be doing right now.
I'm not recommending AI generated content. At least it needs absolutely to be reviewed by a human in the loop.
Yeah, 100%. And really study it. We're studying guidelines all day, search engine guidelines all day. A lot of questions. Thank you everybody for staying on as well. I don't think we lost anyone, which was good. Fred, we didn't bore anyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if anyone else has got any questions, let me know. If not, we'll probably wrap it up in a couple of minutes. Victoria, Jem, everybody's saying thank you. It's great.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Fred, as well for your time, and sorry for leaving.